Chief's sister, he whispered to himself. A buzzing vibration coming from one of his pockets pulled him from his thoughts. He pried out his cell and looked down at it. Here safely, apartment is great. And check out my lab. I think I'll call this handsome fellow Danny. Hope your first day at the job is going well. XOXO. Danny? In the time it took for Eli to wonder who the hell Galena was talking about, the text dissolved and a picture appeared. His sister was posing with her arm around a broad flat-screen computer, its holographic projections throwing all sorts of odd squiggles across the snapshot. Of course, Danny, her new computer. He smiled, relieved, as he shot back a reply and tucked his phone in his pocket. She'd always worked hard, and she hadn't let what had happened to her slow her down. If anything, she'd driven herself harder after the attack, trying to regain her sense of control, and it had really paid off. This faculty position in the Harvard University Immunology Department was a dream come true for her. Eli just wished she wouldn't spend so much time alone. He hoped there were actual people in the lab facility, and not just machines. It'd be nice if Galena made a friend or two. Eli focused his gaze on the alcove next to the locker room entrance. A video wall there kept a rotating feed of the different sectors of their station's emergency response zone. He stared at the teeming canals and sidewalks. So many people, so many problems. The population of the city had swollen in the last few years as Boston became one of the few remaining cities with modern conveniences. Electricity, a barely functioning police force and fire department, hospitals still stocked with antibiotics and anesthetics, luxuries. Feeling prepared, desert boy? Cacy called as she strode into the garage. Her uniform clung to her body, revealing lush, round hips and shapely legs. Eli flashed a smile at her and looked back at the video wall, trying to ignore the sudden tightness in his pants. I'm always prepared, Lieutenant. Deck had told him about the dangers of the canal zones, and in the city in general. It didn't sound any worse than what he'd faced on the streets of his hometown, or during his stint as an Army Ranger. Cacy yanked open the rear door of the ambulance and climbed in, where she began systematically checking each compartment in the back, mumbling to herself about self-perpetuating saline gel, chemical defib solution, and fast-acting antibiotic boosters. The back of the rig dipped as Eli climbed in to join her. She glanced at him irritably and wiped her hand over the back of her neck, drawing his gaze to a delicate platinum necklace that hung there. A circular pendant with some sort of bird etched onto its surface dangled from the chain. She saw him looking and tucked it into the collar of her uniform. Cacy sat down on the side bench and slid toward the cab of the vehicle. She looked down at the bench and made a face. Could you grab some powder clean and wipe this? I don't know what day shift got up to in here, but I sure as hell don't want to sit in what they left behind. Eli did as she asked, grateful to have something useful to do. He sneaked glances at her as he worked, admiring the absolute comfort with which she maneuvered around the rig. It was clear she had little tolerance for things being out of place. He was the same way, so it was a relief to have a partner who cared about those details as much as he did. Details saved patients' lives. She opened the front left cabinet and counted the rounds in the trank guns. Deck had gone over the rules of engagement with him earlier. Eli had never wielded a trank gun before, but he figured he could get the hang of it quickly, should the need arise. He had plenty of experience with street violence, but in this city, he planned to focus on defending himself against it, instead of causing it. Cacy leaned into the front seat. He wondered if she was aware of the amazing view she offered as she bent over to tap the nav screen by the steering wheel. He gritted his teeth and looked down at the bench, where he'd been scrubbing hard, about 6 inches away from the sticky spot that needed it. He paused in his work, deciding this might be a good time to clear the air between them. You don't seem thrilled to have a new partner, Lieutenant. Seems too soon to be personal, but in case it is, I apologize again if I offended you earlier. By I fucking me in the locker room, you mean? She asked casually, not bothering to turn around. He stared at the dangerous curves of her backside. Her tone hinted a challenge, which drew a smile to his lips. Was it good for you, too? Her shoulders shook, and he wondered if she was laughing. But then she made a disgusted sound and grabbed something from the front passenger seat. She turned around and held out a small colorful box. Want some mocklet? It's the high-end stuff. My father once got us the real thing, and I swear this tastes just like it.